Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is currently 7:39 p.m. on this nice, that's not very, this is not a very descriptive adjective, but I don't know what else to say. It's a nice evening outside, and there's a few clouds in the sky, and I can see the stars out, and I have my coat on, but it's not even that cold out. It's just because I have a t-shirt on underneath here. It's a nice evening, and it was nice today. It was in the 60s, and we just got home from our marriage counseling session, and Alex is upstairs, and he is folding laundry and watching something on his phone. I could hear it. Well, he was probably TikToks or something, just rolling through TikToks while he's folding laundry. I don't know how you do that at the same time. I don't know. Maybe he's watching like a video or something. Anyway, and Boo Radley is acting like an absolute crazy man. He like ran around outside, and he was like darting this place and darting there and running here and running there, and then he ran inside and he ran downstairs for a second to finish his dinner, and then he ran upstairs to be with his dad, and now he's upstairs with his dad. So, did you ever have one of those days that just does not go the way that you planned whatsoever, and you like kind of start getting upset about it, but then you're like, it just is what it is, right? Like, that was my day today. My day it did not go how I planned whatsoever, and it was funny because we were in marriage counseling, and so every once in a while, we've had a great session tonight, and every once in a while we do just these questions, right? And Alex will, so it's these questions that our therapists found online, and they're like questions to like help, you know, couples and all this kind of stuff get to know each other better and whatever. It's just to like improve intimacy and communication and things like that. And so, but they're really interesting questions. I'll have to find out where he found them online, and I'll let you guys know where he found them, because there's like 100 questions. We started it a couple months ago, and we don't do it every session, especially if we have something that we like specifically want to talk about. But today we didn't have anything to talk about. So he was like, do you guys want to do some questions? And we were like, yeah, sure. And so, like the questions are like things like, like Alex had a question like, what's your definition of success? And then he asked me like what my definition of success was. And then we kind of talked about like as a couple, like how do we define success together? And so those are the kind of questions that you get. And the reason why they're so good is that I don't think that those are typically conversations that you have with your partner sometimes, you know? You have conversations about like, should we buy a house? Or, you know, should we, like, what about our retirement plan? Or things like that. But, you know, as far as questions about like, well, how do you measure success? And is it different than how I measure success? Because often like inside, we think one thing and like our partner thinks something else. This is going to go in and out because of the light behind me. And every time I sit outside when it's dark, it does that. And you guys, you know, I hate that, but it is what it is. So anyway, I think these questions are really important. And like one of the other questions was, I mean, they're not super deep questions, but like, what's your favorite way to relax? Or what's your favorite way to relax? And what was interesting was we were talking about like, you know, Alex liking to like play his game and watching TikToks, and me binge watching shows, or him binge watching shows. And I was talking about how I love like to sit on the front porch and talk to the neighbors or talk on the phone. And Alex was like, well, like my ultimate favorite is to like be on a beach. And so we were talking about how we both love being on a beach together. And so then our, you know, therapist turned that into like talking about like our long-term goals of like possibly being like living on a beach at some point and stuff. So it's interesting, like you really kind of see your partner in a whole completely different way just by these very basic questions, which then our therapist kind of like breaks down into like deeper issues. It's not just about these. So anyway, we had a good session, but something about we were talking today, and he said, we were talking about, because, you know, like I've been working with him for like a year now individually, and he said something to me about, he was like, you're always really hard on yourself when you like have a plan for how you want something to go, or you schedule something, like you make a list and then it doesn't go that way. And I said, do you think so? And he said, oh yeah. He was like, you know, you make these lists And then if you don't like meet everything on your list, he was like, you give yourself like a hard time, you like beat yourself up for it, right? And I was like, that's kind of true. And he was like, one of the things that I suggest to you is, which was exactly my day today. And he was like, one of the things that I suggest to you is just be present, relax in the moment, and learn to enjoy your life. You know, that you've got tomorrow to start over and do your best tomorrow, but like there's no reason to ruin today. And, you know, and I was like, that's a really good point. So my plan had been, you know, to get up. I had it even scheduled out. So I had a list of everything that I was going to do today. But I also had I went backwards in time to like when I had to like schedule my Uber. And so that was at like 5 o'clock. And so I had to start getting ready at 4:30, between 5 and 5:15. So I put that on my list. And then like 4:30, it was like, get ready. And then it was like 3:30, like film drama video. And then it was like, so I had it like all scheduled out, like, and what time I had to get up and everything like that. Well, I ended up waking up. So this is what happened. So I stayed up late last night watching movies for the Oscars, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. But I ended up like not being able to fall asleep last night at all. Like I could not fall asleep. And when I finally went to bed, which was very, very late. And so I tossed and I turned and I tossed and I turned, and I fell asleep for like an hour and a half. And then there was like some like loud commotion out on the street, and it woke me up about 9 o'clock. And it was like 9:20 something. So I looked at the clock, and it was like 9:20 something. So I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. I was so hungry that I went down into the kitchen and I was like looking around for stuff. And so like I ate a little bit of potato salad, and then I went back to bed. Took me like another 20 minutes to fall asleep, I think, and then I fell back asleep, and I just kept on sleeping, and I finally woke up and I got some stuff done. But I was like, when I woke up, I just really had a hard time like getting up and waking up today. And it wasn't like the last couple days, because like now, sitting here right now, I am like, I feel alert, I feel rested, I feel back to my normal self, other than how I felt like, I don't know, like last week, where I wasn't feeling very well and I was tired all the time. Like I don't feel like that right now. Like right now, I feel good, I feel rested. So I don't know what it was, but I got up and I was like really struggling like waking up today. And so, and I think it was because like I didn't sleep very well last night. I couldn't fall asleep, and I don't think I got that much sleep. So my plan is to go to bed earlier tonight. Not early, but earlier, because I have to watch 2 movies tonight to keep up with my Oscar thing. I have to watch 2 movies a day this entire week to keep up with my Oscar thing. And I am going to do it, because this is like, I know this is like a cheesy goal to a lot of people, and they're probably like, this is so stupid, why does Peter care? But like I do. I don't know. Like for me, since I started it, like I'm kind of really excited about watching all these movies and also having an opinion about it. The only thing is, I have nobody to talk to about these movies, because nobody has seen these movies other than probably a few of you out there. So I don't really have like a lot of people to talk to about these movies. Tanya is kind of watching some of these movies. So Tanya and I have been talking, but like most of the movies that I've seen so far, Tanya hasn't watched yet, but she's going to watch. And so she's like, yeah, I'm going to watch it, so don't tell me anything about it. So I'm like, can you watch it so we can talk? But anyway, so I got up today and was just like getting some stuff ready around the house for like, so we're going to Miami in a few weeks. And so it was just kind of like getting some stuff ready around the house for that, planning that. And before I knew it, I looked at the clock and it was 4 o'clock. And I was like, where did all the time go today? And I was like, I haven't filmed any videos. I wanted to film all these videos. And I was like, okay, just relax. It's okay. You'll film your vlog when you get home. It'll be cool. So anyway, so yeah, so I didn't really do a whole lot today. Talked to my neighbors for a little bit outside, and it was a beautiful day. I mean, it was cloudy and gray, like, you know, winter is in Indianapolis, but as far as the temperature was absolutely beautiful today. So that was that, and then I went to my marriage counseling session. Right as I got there about 10 or 15 minutes early. The guy that was my driver on the way there, he was such a nice guy. And he was from Nigeria, and he was telling me he had like used to live in Houston, and he was telling me about living in Houston and moving here, and he was telling me about like his tribe in Nigeria and how he moved here and why he came to Houston, because there was like so many people that he knew in Houston, and then he came to Indianapolis because of that. He was such a nice guy, and just like, and he was asking me all these questions, and I was asking him these questions. We just had such a wonderful time on the way there. It was a really nice Uber ride. I think I need to mention that because like when I mention that I have like, you know, horrible Uber rides, I have to tell you that 95% of the time I have fantastic Uber rides. I mean, 95% of the people, I mean, I've learned so much about it. Like, you know, the whole thing is that it's like, I think a lot of people have this misconception that people drive for Uber when it's not that at all. That, I mean, I know that this is like a common thing, but like I think people treat the drivers like they drive for Uber when that's not it at all. They are their own, you know, personal business. And so, you know, most of them will talk to me and interact with me and have conversations with me, you know, like I can kind of feel it out right away, like if they're willing to talk or if they're not, you know, and most of their cars are spotless, and you can tell they take real pride in what they do and that they really see it as a business. And most of them are just like unbelievably kind and nice. And, you know, we'll ask questions about like, where do you want me to drop you off? Where do you want me? I always try to like be like right standing at the end of the driveway when they come to get me. And because they've said, I've had a couple people and I ask about like, what are things that drive you crazy? And they're like, when people make me wait like 5 and 10 minutes, and stuff like that, or like change where they want to go, like right as they get in the car and all this kind of stuff. So I try not to do any of that kind of stuff. Like I've tried to ask the questions so that I can be like the best possible, you know, rider as far as an Uber person. But I was really having a hard time getting a ride today. It kept on going like 8 minutes out, then 10 minutes, and then 24, 12 and 24. And 24 minutes was like the one that I found. I was talking to Tanya on the phone, and I was like, so I have to schedule, like people are like, you should schedule your Uber at a certain time. But the problem with that is I need to make sure that I'm like showered and ready, and the dog is in his house, like Boo Radley's down in his house and fed and everything like that before I schedule the Uber, because I don't want the Uber to show up and then they are waiting, if that makes sense. Which, I mean, the counter to that is that just be ready on time. I get that. But I just want to make sure nothing happens. And so I wait, and I try to schedule my Uber. Like, I try to, you know, like, sit here 15 minutes before I need to actually schedule my Uber. But what typically happens is it takes so long to get an Uber in this area, and especially at that time, which is 5 o'clock, you know, it's quitting time typically for a lot of people. So there's a lot of people that are getting picked up to go home from work. And so it's really... I had to pay $34 today, you guys, for an Uber. I told Alex and our therapist, and they were like, you paid $34 for an Uber? I was like, that was the price, the going price. And I like went out of the app and went back in, because sometimes if you go out of it and you go back in, it gives you a different price. But I did that, and it was like $34. I couldn't believe it. And tip your Uber driver if you can. Like, that is one thing that I... like when I ask them, they'll say like, yeah, like almost nobody ever tips us. Tip your Uber driver, like, because I asked him, I said, so he said, I think, like, do you know how much your ride is? And I said, yeah, my ride was like 30, it was like 33 something. And he started laughing, and I said, what's funny? And he goes, I made $15 off that. Uber takes 50% of their ride. I couldn't believe that. I mean, I've heard different percentage rates depending on whatever, but he was really nice. His car was spotless. And you can tell, like, with a lot of the drivers, like, did they take it, like, really, really, like, they see it, you know, completely as, like, a professional job. And they'll have set hours that they go out and do it. The whole thing is very fascinating to me. I think it's kind of, like, invented this whole new career world, you know, that, I don't know, wasn't around before, where people can kind of, like, make their own jobs and stuff like that. I think it's fantastic. We were talking about safety, and I said, you know, it's interesting because a lot of the women drivers he said he was concerned about women that were drivers for Uber. And I said, most of the women that I have had as Uber drivers, they, almost all of them have dash cams so that they are recording like what's going on in the car at any given time. He was like, oh, I never thought of that. It's like a really good idea, which that kind of surprised me. He hadn't heard of that. But no, the thing I was going to say was, I think the misconception that like a lot of people that I know that take Ubers, maybe not as much as I do, but like randomly, is that the drivers work for Uber, which is actually not the case. It's that they are driving for themselves and they just use Uber as an app. Like this guy today that I was working with, he drives for Uber and Lyft, and we were talking about the differences between them and stuff like that. But he was so nice, and so yeah. One driver that I talked to, he said he had figured out like what percentage of people tip, and he said that the percentage was like under 20% of people tip. But then he also went in to say, but he goes, you know, I drive a lot during the day, and he goes, I take a lot of people to work, and he said, so you figure you have somebody that's taking Uber to work because they can't drive, and it costs them $10 to get to work, so it is hard for them to tip on that. On top of that, he goes, I totally understand that. He goes, that's not what bothers me about the tipping. He was like, you know, some people just don't tip at all. So yeah, so that was my day today. Another just kind of relaxing day in the life of Peter Monn. Tomorrow, we're pulling it together tomorrow. I had a whole list of all kinds of things. I mean, I got some things done off my list that are not YouTube related, you know, some calls I had to make and some appointments I had to book and things like that. So I did get a lot of that done. But as far as like the videos that I wanted to do, and it was nothing, nada. I didn't get any of that done. But I am very proud because I have watched... Oh my God. This is where my haters call me lazy. It's okay. You know, there are people that take long vacations and whatever, so it is whatever it is. I'll get back to it. So what was I going to say? I have watched many of these Oscar movies now. I was telling my neighbors this across the street. They were like, we haven't seen any of the Oscar movies. And my mom, so when I got to my appointment today, I was like 10 minutes early, and I had called my mom's best friend, Susie, my Aunt Susie. I had called her yesterday or the day before, and so she called me back like in the Uber, and so I just waited until I got there, and then I called her back. So we were talking for a little bit, and she was like, I haven't seen any of these movies either. And I was like, Susie, because Susie she keeps up with pop culture and reads and everything like that. I said, you have got to see some of these movies. And she was like, the last movie I saw, she loves football, by the way, and she was like, the last movie that I saw was called 80 for Brady or something like that. And I go, okay, so let me guess, it has something to do with Tom Brady and football and whatever. She goes, well, kind of. She goes, but it's like all of these women that are like 80. She's like, it's like Lily Tomlin. I can't remember who else she mentioned, but it was like all these older actresses. And she said, and they're all going to the Super Bowl because Tom Brady is playing, and they're like obsessed with Tom Brady. Because it's kind of a funny movie. She was like, and she was telling me she went to the playoffs in San Francisco, and she had a great time. I'm like, this is like, I mean, Susie's like 82, right? And she's 81, 82. And she still has, like, I mean, she skis every winter because she lives in Colorado. What is that? It's this kid, and he, like, rides his bike down the street, and he does these, like, he pulls his bike up, and it makes that sound. I don't know what that sound is, but he seems pretty talented. Yesterday he was riding with his friend, but he, like, every time he goes by my house, he, like, pulls it up. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, where you, like, are on one wheel, and it makes that sound. But anyway, Susie still skis in the winter with her grandkids, and she goes all of the Broncos games because she lives in outside of Denver. I love Susie so much. And she was telling me, she goes, guess what I watched the other night? And I said, what? And she said, Breakfast at Tiffany's, which was one of my mom's favorite movies. I love that movie. I love that movie so much. So anyway, I talked to Susie, and then Alex showed up, and then we went to our appointment. And now I am home, and Alex is folding laundry, and I said, what are you going to do tonight? And he said, well, last night he watched 2 episodes of Grey's Anatomy, and, was it Yeah. Oh, I laid down last night. I'll tell you that in a second. So I said, "What are you going to do tonight?" And he goes, "Nothing. I'm going to fold this laundry and finish my laundry because he's got like another load in the dryer." And then he said, "And then I'm going to just relax and watch these shows." He's got like a bunch of shows that are recorded since he got back from Spain. Like it was that he recorded while he was in Spain. So last night I was tired, so I laid down. He wanted to watch Grey's Anatomy anyway. So he watched 2 episodes of Grey's Anatomy, and I laid down for like an hour and 40 minutes. I got up at like 8:40 because I had asked him. I said, "Do you want to watch a movie?" You know, I'm trying to tick these, tick them off my list of these Oscar movies. Y'all, listen, okay? I know you think I'm joking about this, but this is no joke, okay? Let me just show you. I have Oscar movies, okay? Well, you can't see it right here, but I have a list of Oscar movies. Women Talking, Triangle of Sadness, The Fabelmans, Elvis, Tar, All Quiet on the Western Front, Living, After Sun, To Leslie, Blonde, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Causeway, and The Whale. So I asked Alex if he wanted to watch a movie, which he was like, "Yeah, sure, we can watch a movie." But I was like, he ain't gonna want to watch The Whale, or like, I mean, he would totally watch like a dramatical movie, you know? I call them dramaticals, okay? Dramas, but I call them dramaticals. So I was like, "Do you want to watch, one of these movies?" That I'm like, but it has to be like, we're not watching, he doesn't want to watch Megan anyway, but I want to see that movie Megan, that horror, kind of like a comedy horror. But something about Alex like has changed. Like he doesn't like horror movies as much as he used to. Because I asked him about Smile, he didn't want to see that. I asked him about Barbarian, is that what it's called? He didn't want to see that. And I asked him about Megan, and he definitely didn't want to see that one. And we used to love watching horror movies, so I don't know what's changed. But anyway, so I'm like going through my list, and I'm like, okay, well, for real, the only movie he's going to want to watch on here is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Because I knew that it was like, I didn't know it was a Marvel movie, but I knew, and I thought it was the sequel to just Black Panther. So I thought, and he loves Angela Bassett. Like Alex is a huge Angela Bassett fan. For her movies, yes, but Coven of American Horror Story is like his favorite season ever. So I was like, well, do you want to watch this Wakanda Forever? And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Have you seen the first one?" And he was like, "Yeah, I saw Black Panther." Because I didn't, so when it starts, of course, they show that it's a Marvel movie. Well, I didn't know that. And I'm not like real into those Marvel movies. First of all, y'all, it's interesting to me that I guess they're not really geared towards kids because they are, I mean, most of the people that I know that like Marvel and DC Comics and all that kind of stuff are people that like grew up with it and now they're like adults. But y'all, those movies are, but y'all, I sound so Southern today, don't I? They are so violent, you guys. Like, those are some of the most violent movies I have ever seen in my entire life. So anyway, Angela Bassett is up for Best Actress for Wakanda Forever. She's great. I love Angela Bassett. I loved her in Waiting to Exhale and How Stella Got Her Groove Back and What's Love Got to Do With. There's so many movies. American Horror Story. I love Angela Bassett. She's one of my favorite actresses of life, okay? I don't think she deserves the Best Actress for this. I will tell you who I think deserves it here in just a second. But she was good in it. Angela Bassett's good in everything she does, right? But what's interesting about this was I hadn't seen the original Black Panther movie, like the first one. This movie was really good, you guys. I think I might like Marvel movies. I don't know. It's like kind of funny. Like I sat there and I just like ate my treats and, and Alex and I were just like sitting there watching it. It's long. It's like almost 3 hours long. All of these movies are so long, but I liked it. I thought it was really good. Like I'd give it a 4.6 or 7, out of 5. Like it was entertaining and I thought it was beautifully shot and the storyline was fascinating and yeah, it was good. I really liked it. So we watched Wakanda Forever and then Alex was like, "I'm going to bed." And it was like midnight. And I was like, okay, Oscar time. So I had started the night before that movie To Leslie, which I'm not going to look up what her name is. Well, I guess I should probably if I'm going to. Hold on a second. Okay, I've looked this up so many times. Oscar nominations 2023. I cannot even tell you guys how many times I've looked up this list. Okay, Best Actor, Best Actress. So my list that I have of like all of those like 14 movies that I have to watch, minus the ones we've seen like Avatar, Maverick. I can't remember what else we've seen. Hold on a second. Okay. Maverick. Avatar. Felt like there was another one that we had seen, but there's not. Okay. So the categories that I picked from, which I think I explained last night, were like Best Actor, which Best Director I forgot. Like I went and I looked through this whole list is on there, and I think that's the last one of the night. So the ones I picked from are like Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Supporting Actress. I want to see all of the movies for all of those categories. That's my goal, okay? So Best Actress, this Andrea... Hold on a second. I can't see because I don't have my glasses on. Andrea Riseborough, okay? Which I don't know anything that she's been in before. She was in Matilda, the musical, Amsterdam. I'd never heard of her before, but she's a British actress. So, To Leslie is this movie that is, so I finished it last night. So it's this movie about this woman. It was based on a true story, and she won $190,000. I thought it was $135,000, but it was $190,000 in the Texas lottery, right? And she's from a small town, about a half an hour like south of Abilene. And it starts when like 6 years later she's lost all of her money and she's a complete severe alcoholic. This movie was so fantastically done, you guys, and it has been like gotten the worst reviews. Like people are saying it's the worst movie. People are saying that like, you know, she didn't deserve her Oscar nomination, which there's all this controversy around it because apparently like the week before the Oscar nominations, like the director campaigned to get her nominated for it to bring attention to the movie, and like that's like you're not supposed to do that, and it goes against everything in the Academy, like all their rules and regulations and whatever. I don't know a whole lot about that. I did read an article about that. They almost rescinded her nomination. All I will tell you is this, and I've now watched several of these Academy Award movies. She was phenomenal. I mean, she was phenomenal. The truest portrayal of an alcoholic I have seen in any movie to date. To date. Unbelievable. I mean, just her mannerisms and her switching on a dime and the manipulation and the denial. And it was really, I was telling Tanya this today, it was really difficult for me to watch. You know, so we do something in recovery called 12-step calls, and 12-step calls are like where there is somebody that's like actively using. We call it a wet alcoholic, which is when somebody's been drinking, but they want help, and so you like go to them, and usually you take 2 to 3 people, right? And you go to them and you sit down and you just share your story. You just share their experience, strength, and hope. And if they want help, you get them into like you take them to a treatment program that night or whatever. So this is kind of like a common thing in recovery that a lot of people do. And it's because this is a program of attraction, not promotion, is what we say, right? And so you don't go and like witness to them. It's not about that. You don't go and say like you need to go to treatment, you need recovery in your life. It's nothing about that. It's just let me share my story, and if you want to hear it, you can hear it. And if you want help, we're here to help you. And if you don't, hey, tell us to leave. And sometimes they go fantastically, and sometimes they don't. But typically, 9 times out of 10, when you're doing it, and Tanya and I have had, like, I've gone with Tanya sometimes. So usually, like, if it's a man, like, it will be men that go. And if it's a woman, usually it'll be women that go. Maybe, like, a man with 2 women. But never would, like, a man, like, all men go to just, like, 12-step a woman and things like that. Like, it's very protected and safe and whatever. My sponsor has had some crazy stories of 12-step calls, but Tanya and I have had some crazy things that have happened too. But typically when you go, so like Tanya will call me and she'll say, like, so somebody called and they want me to go on a 12-step call with me. Will you just go and, like, sit in the car, or, like, just come inside and sit in case, you know, like, it gets out of control or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So, like, I'll go with Tanya and, like, another woman, and they'll, like, sit there and they'll sit at the kitchen table and, like, you know, make a pot of coffee for the whatever, and talk to her, and I'll, like, just sit in the background and, like, drink a cup of coffee, you know, whatever. And that's how they go. But what's hard about it is, okay, it stopped. But what's hard about it is you see in that moment the most vulnerable, rawest alcoholic at their base level, right? And it reminds you of where you came from and where you were. Not the good times in bars dancing around when you thought you were fun, when you thought you were the life of the party. But when you see that person and you look into their eyes, what you realize is how sick and tired of being sick and tired that you were. And it's hard to see. This movie, I don't know how she even captured it, honestly. It was so hard to watch at points. There's this one scene in the movie, and this won't ruin it for you. There's a lot of country music in it, and I love the country music. We joke about you get sober and then you start loving country music. But there's a lot of country music into it in the movie. If you guys want to look up this song, I downloaded it last night because when I was growing up, my dad loved Willie Nelson. And I love Willie Nelson, but I didn't know this song. And this song is called Are You Sure? And she's sitting at the bar, and it's last call, and the song comes on. And the song is something about, like, your friends that are your friends, are you sure they're really your friends, or are they just using you? And are you sure that this place that you're at is really where you want to be anymore? And she's just sitting there listening to this song, and she's wasted drunk. And this look that she has on her face, like, in that moment, encompasses everything that I know to be true about alcoholism. And I watched this movie and I just was absolutely blown away. And I will tell you, it's not a conventional story of recovery. Like, she don't go to, you know, AA or NA and work a 12-step program. She doesn't go to treatment. It's no movie about that. It's not. But the movie is about hope and desperation. And I was just absolutely, I was sobbing by the end of this movie. It was so good. So then I was like, okay, well, got to keep up with my, look, I almost did my hair tonight because I got out of the shower and I was like, should I do my hair or should I wear a hat? And I was like, well, Alex likes me better in a hat, so I'm going to wear my hat, which is like every day, right? So then I was like, what was I going to say? So then I was like, okay, I got to keep up with my shows. So I watched The Last of Us, which I think the next episode is the last one. No, I'm positive of it. The next episode is the last one because I looked and I was like, it's only 9 episodes long. Like, that's weird. But anyway, so good. Last night was like a really tense episode, but it was like a really good episode. And really good. But so I had like a half an hour of To Leslie left to watch. And so by that point, it was like 1:30 in the morning. And I'm like, I got the rest of the night. Made a cup of herbal tea, you know, all this kind of stuff. So I was like, what am I going to... so I was like, I'm watching The Whale. Y'all know I got so excited about that last night, right? So I bought The Whale. So now I own it. Which I don't know why anybody... I bought it for... I was telling Tanya this. I think I told her last night before I watched it, actually. But I said, I'm buying that movie. And I said, it's cheaper than going to the movie theater. Which it is. I mean, it's $19.99 that you buy it, right? Which I know people are like, that is ridiculous that you bought that movie. It's $19.99. It's cheaper than going to the movie theater, okay? Maybe not the matinee, but for going to it on a Friday or Saturday night, it's definitely cheaper than that. But now I own this movie, The Whale, right? Which, why you would want to put yourself through this movie twice, I have no idea, okay? It's like the most, I mean, I kind of woke up today and I was kind of sad. Like, I felt kind of sad and I thought, honest to God, like when I was in the shower tonight, I was thinking to myself, you've been kind of like sad all day long. Like, what's going on? And I thought, well, it's probably because you're watching all these sad ass movies. You know, first you watch this movie about this alcoholic that lost $190,000, right? And then you're watching The Last of Us, which is about these two people that are trekking across the United States, you know, trying to get this little girl safe. And they're just like, everybody's trying to come at them. Then you're watching this movie about this guy that's just like absolutely like, I don't know. It's just so sad. And then so I got to talk to you about the last movie that I watched. But I watched The Whale with Brendan Fraser. He hands down deserves the Academy Award. It's interesting in watching all these movies because, like, when I start watching them, it's like I can kind of... he will win the Academy Award. I believe that. I think Banshees of Inisherin or Inisherin or whatever, I think it will be a sweep. I think it will take a lot of awards. It's just that kind of movie that is so simple in nature and so beautifully done that I think the Academy will love the premise behind it. And it is really a beautiful movie, I have to tell you. I was telling my Aunt Susie today, and I was telling Tanya, I was like, you guys have got to watch this movie. Like, The Banshees of Inisherin is like, it is a beautiful movie. Beautiful in that, about like learning about who you are as a person, but it is, so Colin Farrell is up for Best Actor. Colin Farrell is fantastic in it. He's not like him, like any other movie I've seen Colin Farrell in. He's no Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser plays this man that has chronic heart failure, that is incredibly morbidly obese, that it lives basically in a chair 24 hours a day, and the only person he sees is the pizza delivery guy that leaves the pizzas outside and his nurse, who's also his best friend. And so it's really a story about this relationship that he wants back in his life, which I'll just leave that out. So this movie was, well, first of all, it was interesting because the whole thing takes place in this apartment. And there was a point of it when I was like, this would be a really interesting play. Like, this movie would be such a great play. And then I read an article, or maybe it was at the end of the movie, it said adapted from the play. And I thought, oh, like, this was a play. Like, this would make an incredible play. I could totally see it as a play, right? Brendan Fraser, like, is unbelievable in this movie. I mean, and what was the movie way back in the day? There was like 2 movies that I watched with him that I loved back in the day, that were kind of like really like heavy movies. School Ties or something like that I watched that I liked, because he's about my age. And then the other movie that I watched, didn't he like end up, like, his neighbor was like a Nazi or something, and he ended up like befriending him, and then like anyway, do you guys remember that movie? I don't remember what that movie was about, but something like that. But The Whale was unbelievable. Like, I was blown away. I mean, you want to talk about, I love when you see an actor or an actress that it is like, I just have such respect for just the art of acting in general, that it's like, somebody's talking on their phone over there. For me, there's acting and there's acting, you know, like in TV shows and whatever. But then it's like, this is where I love like Octavia Spencer in Truth Be Told. I mean, you're getting like an Oscar level performance from Octavia Spencer in a TV show. Like, are we for real? Bryan Cranston in what's that show called? Oh God, we've got 2 more episodes of it. Bryan Cranston in oh shoot, why can't I think of what that show is called? I watch it every week. The Juror, what's that called? Shoot. I know people are like shouting it at me. Hold on a second. Why can't I remember it is the question. Bryan Cranston. Your Honor. It didn't even come up yet before I found it, or I thought of it. But anyway, like Bryan Cranston in Your Honor is like, and I know he is not an Oscar winner, I don't think he is, but it's like Oscar winning performance, you know? I love to watch performances like that are just like, So captivating. It's not just Your Honor, like him in Your Honor. Like, there are so many people. The woman that plays the mobster's wife, the woman that plays Lil Mo, oh, she is incredible. She is so good in that show. I mean, there's like so many people that are so good in that show, Your Honor. You want a good show? I mean, that show is unbelievable. Oh my God, the people, that Pascal guy from The Last of Us, that girl, that young 19-year-old girl that plays Ellie in The Last of Us, she is unbelievable. So I love when you see really good performances. Brendan Fraser, he makes you forget you're watching a movie, first of all. So anyway, I watched The Whale, 5 out of 5. It was, or 10 out of 10. It was unbelievable movie. Devastatingly sad. Devastatingly sad. So then I was like, well, I don't know which movie to watch. So I was like going through my movies to try to figure out, I'm going to have to spend a fortune renting these movies this week. So I was trying to figure out which movie was like the shortest. And so Tanya was saying that she really wanted to see Women Talking, which was actually, I don't know much about it, so it was probably going to be one of my movies that I watched towards the end of the week, except that it has Frances McDormand in it. And Frances McDormand is one of my favorite actresses of life. She's probably, back in the day, I used to always say, well, Jessica Lange, I've loved for 30 years, 40 years, I've loved Jessica Lange. Back when she was in Crimes of the Heart and all that kind of stuff. Diane Keaton, who else do I love? Sissy Spacek, all three of them were in Crimes of the Heart. But, I mean, I have so many favorite actresses that I've loved through the years. But, in the last couple years, I would say some of my favorite actresses, well, Julianne Moore, I love. Sarah Paulson, I absolutely love. And Frances McDormand is somebody that, like, there's... who's the other one? The English actress that she won an Academy Award like 2 years ago, and she was nominated again last year. Shoot, what's her name? Oh shoot, I was just thinking, why can't I think today? Wiggle my toes. Oh, damn it. Shoot. Academy Award Best Actress winner. Watch me think of it before it even pulls up again. She was in that movie that was about, like, she went to a beach and stayed. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Olivia Colman. But here, Jessica Chastain, I like her, she's fine. Frances McDormand for Nomadland. Oh, that movie was so good. Renee Zellweger, Judy. I never saw that movie. Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards Outside Missouri. Anyway, I love Frances McDormand. So I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this movie. And I Googled it. And so it's about... Well, I didn't really know how the whole thing was going to be filmed, but it's about these Mennonite women that are in this Mennonite colony in Bolivia. It takes place in 2010. I thought it took place, like, I don't know when, because it's a Mennonite colony, so you don't really have any perception of time. And this is not ruining it for you, because this happens literally in the first 2 minutes of the movie. But, so the women and the young women there are being, and this was based on a true story, that there was this novelist wrote, and then Sarah Polley, the director, she turned it into this movie. So it's about these women, and not just the women. I mean, it's the elderly women, it's the younger women, it's the girls. It's unbelievable. They're being drugged and raped, and the men are coming in through the windows. And the women are being told that it's ghosts, that it's acts of their imagination, on and on and on, even though they're waking up with, like, bloodied sheets and pain and things like that. And these 2 girls catch one of the guys, and they see his face. And so the man is caught, and then he gives up the names of the other men in the colony that are doing it, which many of them are the brothers of the girl. It's unbelievable, right? And this is based on a true story. So the women collectively get together. So the men are jailed, and then they're going to be getting out. And so the women collectively get together, and they make a decision on whether they're going to stay and do nothing, stay and fight, or leave. And it's 2 hours of women talking is what it is about this. And it's really just 10 of the best actors. So Sarah Polley said she wanted to get 10 of the best actresses together in a room and have them talk about these issues like faith, forgiveness, marriage, commitment, God. Now, I went into this movie and I didn't know a lot about it, okay? What's baffling to me, first of all, is that the Academy did not nominate any of these women for either Best Actress or Best Supporting Actress. I am absolutely floored. I could not believe it, okay? That being said, I have now seen Maverick, Avatar. The way this movie is crafted and the way that it is done and paced, the whole thing takes place in 24 hours. It's beautifully shot. And it's interspersed with other things that happen. These women, I mean, some of the best actresses in the world. It is a real contender for Best Picture, I'm telling you. Like, do I think it'll win? Probably not. If it won, would I be surprised? No. Like, it is a real contender. Number one, it is a really important movie. Number two, I just was like, well, this is why I am so tired today, or why I couldn't sleep last night. I think it just was rolling around in my head. So I was going to just watch half of it. And I ended up like watching the whole thing. And I was like, I have to find out what happens. Like, I have to keep on watching and find out what happens. So I kept watching and I kept watching and I kept watching. And I just, when it was over, there's a scene at the end when they're all singing that just like, I just was like, I could uncontrollably crying. And I just got done with it at the end and I thought, what did I just watch? Like, what did I just see? And very few movies really affect me in that way. So, Women Talking, you need to see. It's really that good. You can rent it on, I think, all the different platforms for like $5.99. But it's heavy. It is super, super heavy. Not for kids. Not at all. So, yeah. I was texting Nikki from the book club, and because her birthday is on Wednesday. Happy birthday, Nikki. Everybody say happy birthday, Nikki, in the comment section below. But she was asking me like what I thought of How to Sell a Haunted House. And I said, well, I actually started Daisy Jones and the Six because I want to finish it. I've only got like 2.5 hours left to finish of Daisy Jones and the Six. And I wanted to finish it so I can start the TV show. And I said, and then I'm going to start How to Sell a Haunted House, and I'll finish it like real quick as well. Because I'm trying to listen to like an hour, hour and a half a night of my audiobook. Which I'm so like happy that, I was going to say proud of myself. I am kind of proud of myself, but I am happy that I'm like back into like reading the audiobooks and stuff again. Like or listening to the audiobooks. Like I'm really enjoying it. So anyway, and she was like, well, I just want I have nobody to talk to about it, and I want to know what you think. And I was like, this is so funny, because this is how I feel about the movies. Like, I want to have people to talk to about these movies, and like, I don't want to spoil them for you guys, but oh my God, like, Tanya Jean, watch these damn movies so we can talk about them, because I have so much to say. Like, we both watched that Whitney movie the other night, you know, and we were talking about it forever. I'm like, Tanya, you need to watch these movies so that we can talk about these movies, please, Tanya Jean. Please, Tanya Jean. So tonight, I do not know what movies I'm going to watch, but I am hoping to, let's hope that I don't lay down. Like, I'm getting a little tired. Like, people are like, how are you tired? I don't know. I just am. Like, it's just, this is cozy, comfy time for me, right? So if I lay down for an hour, but, okay, I'm thinking tonight of watching Elvis. Maybe I should watch Elvis and Blonde tonight. Do Elvis and Marilyn Monroe. Like, maybe I should do that tonight. And then I was thinking about watching, like, tomorrow, Causeway and Living. Because tomorrow night I can stay up later because I don't have to get up super early on Wednesday because Alex will be home later. And if I film late into the day, that's fine. And then I really have no desire to see The Fabelmans. I've heard good things about it. Triangle of Sadness. Who was I talking to? Somebody told me it was really weird. They said, oh, it's okay. I can't remember who I was talking to about that. Tar, I kind of really want to see that with Cate Blanchett. I might watch that tonight. All Quiet on the Western Front. See, I saw the original like so many years ago, and I don't love war movies at all. And like my mom did, which is so weird to me. She loved, like, what was that movie, Apocalypse Now? Like, she loved those war movies. I don't like war movies. And, but I'm going to watch it. It's on Netflix. So, if you're wanting to watch a free movie that's going to be up for the Oscars, it's supposed to be fantastically done. And then Living, I don't know anything about. And After Sun, I heard was good. And Causeway is supposed to be good. Causeway is with Jennifer Lawrence. So, I like Jennifer Lawrence a lot, so I'm excited about that. So, yeah, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 9 movies left. If I finish all of these 9 movies, then I will watch I think there's 4 movies up for International Film of the Year because All Quiet on the Western Front is one of those, so then I would only have 3 other movies to watch. And that Argentina 1985 is one of those, which I really want to see. So, I probably would watch those. But, yeah. All right, you guys. Oh, my God. I was going to vlog for, like, 20 minutes today, and I ended up vlogging for 15. What is going on? I've been, like, doing, like, almost an hour, like, every single night the last couple days. So, if you haven't watched the last couple days, I did an hour almost. So, go check them out. And, maybe by summer we'll be back to an hour and a half a day. Who knows? Anyway, I love you guys. I would love to like I would have to figure out how to do it, but like my back patio be like my vlogging, filming studio. See, like here, it's kind of protected. Like people on either side can't really hear me unless they're standing right in front. But out back, my neighbors on either side can hear me. So it kind of makes me real self-conscious to vlog out there. But if I had I imagine like beautiful pillows and like real bohemian like blankets everywhere and plants and everything, and then I just sit out there and vlog. Wouldn't that be so fun? I would love that. Anyway, all right, so I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Monday and a fantastic beginning to your week. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And remember these 3 very important things. 1, you can start your day over whenever you want. You can start your week over, too, if you need to. Maybe your day and your week got started off badly. Just, hey, let's get back into the realm of things and say tomorrow is going to be a much better day. And tomorrow we're going to get up earlier and get things done. We're going to get the things done we want to get done tomorrow. So, and I'm excited because tomorrow's my meeting, too. So I get to go to my meeting tomorrow night with Tanya Jean. And let's see. Tomorrow Alex is working, and then he's going to go work out, and then he's going to come pick me up and take me to Tanya Jean's, and Tanya Jean and I are going to go to our meeting, and I'm real excited about it. So, and so yeah, so about that, and then also practice random acts of kindness, but number 2. Practice random acts of kindness, but don't tell anyone. And 3, most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. You might be putting a smile on their face or changing their day or for the better or making them feel more positive about their life or making them feel less alone. And why wouldn't we want to do that? And also be kinder to one another, love one another a little bit. Be kinder to one another, love one another a little bit more, and most importantly, be kinder and love yourselves a little bit more. And I trimmed my beard and shaved today, so I hope that this hair over here is gone that somebody mentioned. It was so funny, because in my comment section, somebody said, off topic or something, like there's this one hair to Peter's side that it's like 3 inches long. You guys, I would see it and I couldn't get it, and it's probably still there. And I mean, I like went up and down and up and down and up and down. So I hope it's gone. I would go in there to trim it and I couldn't see it. So anyway, I love you guys and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Oh, and for those that need to hear it and those that want to hear it and those that just happen to stick around, one more, I love you. I love you guys and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Happy birthday, Lena.